I will talk about renewable energy and cooperation and interaction. My name is Dag Einar Gule, and I shall talk about renewable energy, how we transport it, how we use it, and how we can replace dirty energy with clean energy. Renewable energy is a huge topic, so we can just scratch the surface in this session. I'm working with renewable energy and climate and environmental issues in the largest hydropower company in our region, Sogn og Fjordane Energi, called SFE. SFE has over 20 hydroelectric power stations. We produce about 2,500 gigawatt hours renewable energy a year. It's the equivalent consumption of about 120,000 households in Norway. We have also 3 wind power plants on the coast producing about 600 gigawatt hours a year. Totally, it's produced about 153,000 gigawatt hours or 153 terawatt hours renewable energy a year in Norway. That's much more than we can use ourselves. It's only China, Brazil, Canada, USA, and Russia who produces more hydroelectric power than Norway. Our region consists of long, deep fjords and many wild mountains. We have many rivers, streams, and lakes that we produce hydropower from. But because of the topography, hard, cold, snowy winters, we have a major challenge in energy supply. It's very expensive to build infrastructure in this landscape. Therefore, we need to find smart ways to use energy and not build more infrastructure than we need. The water resources can also be limited when it comes to a point, but so far we produce much more than we use and export this to other parts of the country and abroad. We also produce...
Dag,
yep.
Excuse me for interrupting. Are you moving the slides? Are you changing the slides?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Just checking.
Yes. Yes. We also produce wind power, as I said, in our region. On the west coast of Norway are good conditions for wind power, with the Norwegian Sea and the North Sea as the nearest neighbors. But everything we produce is pure renewable energy. We have a vision in our company. We create the renewable future by developing new renewable energy. We contribute to Norway's climate goals. With our effort in electrification, we create a sustainable future. We are actively seeking cooperation to accelerate the green shift. And through local presence and commitment, we create local values and jobs. We have different types of energy sources. This the most common, I think. We have hydropower, wind energy, bioenergy, solar energy, geothermal energy, and nuclear energy, coal, oil, and gas. I have divided this picture because we have renewable energy sources and non-renewable sources. Renewable energy, like the green on the picture, is simply energy sources we do not run out of. They renew themselves. So solar energy, hydropower, and wind power. And non-renewable energy is energy that is based on resources that cannot be renewed and will one day run out. Examples you can see here: fossil energy, coal, oil, gas, and nuclear energy, uranium, thorium, and so on. As I said, Norway produces more renewable energy than we can consume. And we can see here the proportion of electricity generated from renewable energy in percent of gross electricity consumption. We say Norway has over 100%. Bulgaria is about 20%. And Europe, in the world, we have, as we said on the Kahoot, only 28% from renewable sources. So we have a lot of work to do. Should we take the first slide, or maybe? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. So I would ask you to stop sharing your screen.
Yes, good job.
So that we can share the Slido.
Where do I end the...
Yes, and the screen sharing. So during Dag's presentation, we have prepared for you some questions to hear your opinion, to see what you think about the topics that he's introducing. So right now, I would like to ask you to go to Slido, which is, I will write it down in the chat. And we'll see screen sharing of the Slido. In a minute. So how we are going to use Slido, you can jump in the website again on any device that you're using, and you can type the passcode. So for the first Slido, the passcode is sent again in the chat in a second, and it is 007218. Okay, I hope that you're managing to follow the link. You can now see the Slido, and if you have managed to enter, join at slido.com, I'm sorry, type the passcode, and you can write down what do we mean by renewable energy. So in your opinion, you can type any answer. Какво означава възобновяема енергия? You can type in Bulgarian or in English. Don't worry. I'll make sure that we have a translation of all of the answers. Okay, so again, the passcode. There is a mistake from my side in one of the numbers. 007281. Then you see the question, what do we mean by renewable energy? And we're looking forward to your answers. If you need any support or technical instruction once again. Okay, we have the first answer, and it's clean energy. Renewable energy is clean energy. Okay. Energy from the nature is the second answer. Thank you, Didi, for sharing the link once again in the chat. Energy from renewable sources. Okay, let's wait 30 more seconds to see more answers. Okay, sustainable energy. Energy that doesn't run out. We have this answer in Bulgarian and in English as well. So let's call it a popular answer. Okay. Thank you very much. It will get easier from scratch to the next questions that we have prepared. So probably we can also see the next question that we have for you. And it's exactly the same way that you're going to answer it. And the next question is, can you name 3 of the most common renewable energy sources that you know? Let's check which are the most popular renewable energy sources. Wind, sun, and waves. And we have a question mark. Great. Wind is quite a popular answer. You can type more than one answer. Okay, again in Bulgarian, we have water and air, hydro, solar, wind. I guess wind and sun are among the most popular, water as well. Okay. Thank you. Water and wind are probably the most popular answers. And now I would like to ask Doug to make probably a short comment before we continue with the next slide on what you're seeing.
Yes. Yes, most of the answers are is right. There is a modification on the energy sources from the nature. We have oil and gas from the nature also, but it's not non-renewable. So renewable energy sources are energy sources that renew themselves. It continues and continues without running out.
Yeah, that's a great and very simple explanation to have in mind. If we think about a source, then we can ask ourselves, is it running out?
The wind don't stop blowing, and the water is still running in the rivers because of the evaporation from the sea, the rain in the mountains, and so on. It's
exactly. Thank you very much. Now we have prepared another slide for you just to warm up for the next topic that Dak is going to present. The next topic is energy in Norway and how do Norway transport energy. So we have 2 simple questions. You can see at the screen already. You can follow the link and type 007282. This is the passcode for the next poll. And I'll also type it here in the chat so that you have it. We'll just give it a second and then we can see the questions. So same website, Slido, then the passcode 007282. And let's see the first question. Okay, people are joining in. Thank you very much. What is the most important energy source for the production of electricity in Norway. Ta-da! You have heard what part of the energy is coming from renewable sources. So probably you can think in this direction. We have wind. Okay. Any other answers? Hydro. Wind is becoming quite popular as it gets bigger. We have 2 people voting on wind, 1 person sun, 1 person water, 1 person hydro. I love. It doesn't run out, right? Okay. I might say that we have a winner, and it's actually wind. And Doug will tell us more in his next presentation. But let's see the second question for you, right? Oh, excuse me, my mistake. My mistake. The most important energy source for the production of electricity in Norway is water. My mistake. Doug is nodding now, so I can see that, and I will remember this probably longer. So here, what other energy resources do we produce renewable energy from in Norway? Okay, we have wind here. Let's see what other ideas. We have 2 votes for wind. Okay, any other opinions? Solar, okay. Sun, solar, and 3 votes for wind. And it is absolutely right. And I might have given you a clue on that. So again, the most important energy source for the production is the water, hydropower, but other energy resources come from wind turbines. And thank you very much again for taking the challenge. And I will again invite Dag to continue with the next topic, which is dedicated to the energy in Norway. Dag, you can screen share once again.
Yeah. Can you see anything now?
It's not a full screen.
Okay.
So probably you can switch the monitors.
Okay, okay. I shall. Oh. What happened here? Let's see. Can you see it now? Full screen?
No.
I don't want
you
to
should probably stop sharing the screen.
Yes.
And share once again, choosing the monitor where the presentation is open.
I lost my picture. Let's see. Okay. I lost my picture.
Okay, we'll give you a minute. Don't worry. Okay, now we see you, which is a good progress.
Yes.
And then let's try the share screen again.
Um,
And you have a
yeah,
full support in the chat. So
no, you don't see it. I stopped the sharing it once again.
yes.
Let's see.
Um,
I'll take up this one. Hmm. Huh. What do you see now?
you.
Can you see the whole screen?
No, no, we cannot see your screen sharing. Probably, I will suggest if you feel comfortable, I can share the presentation that we have from you.
Yes.
Or just give you. Okay, even if we don't see the full screen now, you can press the button that is on top of the presentation to start a presentation mode. Let's try this out.
From the beginning? No. I
Yeah.
don't know what's happening.
Okay, now we see the full screen. Great.
You see the
Great.
full screen now?
Absolutely. Yeah. The slide is how we
Okay.
make electricity.
But
Yay. Great.
you don't see the
The notes.
no.
No.
No. Okay. Thank you.
Perfect.
Yes. Yes,
Thank you.
I'll say something about how we make electricity and how we transport it. As we saw in the Slido, the most important energy source in Norway is hydropower. And here is a diagram of a hydroelectric generation station. I thought I would say a little bit how it works. We have water stored in a reservoir. You can see the water in to the left on the diagram, often in the mountains. And there's a large amount of water stored behind those dams. And we have a power station down in the valley, and we have a tunnel that the water flows in down to a turbine that spins, and we have a gear gear mechanism who turns a generator who makes the electricity. And the electricity is going to a transformer, which converts the voltage to a very high voltage to transport it from long distances, over long distances. And that's the principle for a hydropower station. And the water is running out again. And it evaporates. The sun is heating the water is evaporating, and it becoming clouds, and it's raining, and then you have the whole circle. So this is renewable. And we also make wind power, as we said, and that's the same principle, but the wind turbines works on a very simple principle. Instead of using electricity to make wind, like a fan, the wind turbines use wind to make electricity. And the wind turns the propeller of a turbine around a rotor, which spins a generator, which creates electricity, the same way as in a hydro power station. And we have a transformer who adjusts the voltage. That's how we make it. But often, mostly, the power stations and the consumers are not on in the same place. So we must transport it. So here in Norway, we have often long distances from where electricity is produced to where consumers are. We have large power lines over wide fjords and high mountains. Because of the topography and hard, cold, snowy winters, we have major challenges to maintain the energy supply. And it's very expensive to build infrastructure in this landscape. The electricity must be used simultaneously as it's produced. It's a fresh product. It cannot be stored, except small amounts of battery cells, maybe. And of course, as we do, store the water in reservoirs and use it when we will. Here we have a hydropower station. We have the power lines, and we have a transformer who turns it a little bit down when it comes nearer the consumers. And we have another transformers who transforms the electricity so we can use it in our houses. It's often 230 volts. And in the power lines, in the great power lines, we have our power lines, the largest have about 420,000 volts. So the production and consumption must be in balance. You must produce as much as it's used or use as little as it's produced. Well, we have better battery technologies improving, but not enough to change this principle. How do we use electricity? We'll use all kinds of electrical equipment in our homes, and we keep getting more. Room heaters, water heaters, washing machines, dishwashers, microwave oven, induction cookers, lighting, and so on. If we use all these appliances at the same time, we will have a major impact to the electrical system. In the case of Norway, we use about 40% of the electrical energy in the industry, about 35% in our households, and 25% to the rest, shops and so on, trains. But in the households, we use about 55% of the electrical energy to heat the houses, and 20% water heating, 10% for lighting, and 15% for the rest. We have radio, TV, and microwave ovens, and so on. I have an example of use of electricity for water heating. As we saw, we use about 20% of all electric energy to heat water. And I give you an example to how we can save energy with showering in a smart way, to call it that. Now I see if this is working. We have a 10-minute normal shower once daily, use energy for about 180 euros a year. Is that equivalent to about 350 lev? Is that right? So
yeah, almost.
almost, yes. But if you change to a water-saving shower head in our shower, we can use half the amount of water and save energy. I hope this is working. Can you see this? Do you see the calculator? No?
No.
No? Okay. You don't see it. Okay. Now, I can tell you, it's an example of if you have a normal shower head, uses 16 liters a minute. We shower once a day. We use 10 minutes. And the energy cost is 8-9 cents per kilowatts. Then we use about 180 euros a year. But we can buy very cheap shower head. You change the shower head on the hose that uses half the amount of water. We are getting wet with that too. And we shower once a day. We have a 10-minute shower. Then we use only 95 euros a year. Half the amount of energy cost. But if we reduce this to, okay, do you need to shower 10 minutes? Oh, we can say 5 minutes. Then we use 49 euros a year. And we have saved 125 euros a year just to change the shower head in our shower. So that's a very good tip to how to save energy in our houses, the daily use. Was that understandable?
We got the main idea.
Can you see the picture now? Can you see the?
Yeah, we see the next picture. Why use electricity efficiently?
Yep. Yes. That's the next question. Why use electricity efficiently? Well, why can't we use as much energy we want when we want? The amount of energy is limited, though it may seem that as if we have an unlimited access, but we don't. I have here a picture and a drawings that I want to explain. I think we all recognize the kitchen to the left. It's about how we know it. But to the right, you see a type of kitchen that's actually there's most of in the world. The wealthiest population, one quarter of the world's population uses 3/4 of all available energy. Is that fair? We are among the wealthiest in the world, together with the rest of Scandinavia and Europe and North America. We spend most energy in the world. We cannot keep on like this. We have to share the cake. We only have this cake. It's not just to bake another one. So we must think of that too. Shall we have a second slide or maybe?
Doug, I will suggest that you go on with the presentation as we have yeah, a short
Okay.
amount of time,
Okay. Okay.
and it would be interesting to hear from
Yep.
you.
Good. Then we talk about how we can use energy smarter. We have new consumption patterns. And that leaves us with new challenges. We have some challenges we must relate to. We have the electric car challenge. No country in the world has more electric cars per capita than Norway. And we need a large amount of electric effect to establish charging stations around the country. At the beginning of October, I think it was approximately 425,000 electric cars have been registered in Norway. It's about 13% of total number of cars. In all Europe, it's about 10% of the car fleet is electric. So we have very, very large number of electric cars, and it's increasing all the time. So we have different types of cars. Some uses require little effects and some more. And we have a challenge to the power grid. It's rapid on and off, the effects. So that's a very challenging situation. And we are making dinner as a challenge. We have the new cookers. The old days we could make dinner using 1 kilowatt. Today we use it for 5, maybe 10, 15 kilowatts. And the rapid on and off. We have no flexibility. Also, and we have the hot water challenge. The water heaters need 2 kilowatts. And then came the induction heaters, needs 5, 10, 15, 20, or maybe 35 kilowatts. Same challenges, rapid on and off, less flexibility. Rapid on and off can overload the distribution grid. So induction heaters if they are connected simultaneously, it will overload the distribution grid. And we have comfort as a challenge. We want more comfort, and that often requires more energy. There are new and more energy-intensive lifestyles. But the biggest challenge of all is that we become richer and more lazy. We are impatient and want to do everything as quickly as possible, on top of everything else. Equipment will be high power on rapid on and off. You have here is a picture of a normal energy consumption over the 24 hours for food and hot water and lighting and heating and so on. And we have this go-ahead consumption. We use accessories as much as we want, when we want. Like you can see those peaks are creating trouble for our system. Do we need to build more power lines to face this challenge? Higher poles and thicker lines? Do we have to, or is there any alternative? In our region, we have a major investments in the power grid. We will build about 700 kilometers new power lines both main power grid and distribution grid. So our company will use about 110 million euros the next few years. But when we build new power lines, we also make the power grid smarter. If we have a smarter power grid, that will give us more knowledge, better decision making, less investment. We don't need to build as much as we did. Better documentation. We have more control. We will be warned about errors and solutions, optimized production, and utilization of capacity. That's very important. We can spread the use over the hours. But we must have new technology. We must have flexible electrical load, heating, hot water, charging, electric cars, or so on. We don't use all this simultaneously. We can move it to the same time of the day when it's good capacity. Here is a consumption file for the neighborhood, and if we shall charge all our electrical cars in the same time, we have trouble. We must spread that effect through the hours. Then it will be good. We believe that the future is smart. We have smart customers, we have smart technology, and smart power companies. And that gives smart cities and villages. Yes. Shall I continue to? I have some sheets left.
Yes, please.
Okay. Yes, I'll say a little bit about our international connection or cooperation. We have, as we had on the Kahoot Power Exchange International, Norway is still one of the countries that with the highest share of renewable power generation. The unique thing about Norway is that with our water reservoirs, we have a large part of the regulated renewable power production in Europe. When the wind blows at full speed on the continent, Norway have the opportunity to buy a lot of power from abroad and save water in the reservoirs. In this way, we can sail out power abroad when there's no wind and little sun on the continent. And we have power cables. The first interconnectors were established against Sweden in 1960 and Denmark in 1976. And the motivation was energy security. Later, we have established against the Netherlands, Germany, Finland, Great Britain, and Russia. As you see the map here. And we have all other international cooperation. There are several collaborative projects on renewable energy in Europe. For example, a program between Bulgaria and Norway on renewable energy, energy efficiency, and energy security. This program is divided into 4 areas. It's developing small hydropower plants in water supply systems, new geothermal energy installations, and improved energy efficiency in buildings, industry, and municipalities, and competence building in the program relevant areas. And when we use energy, do we have greenhouse gas emissions? Yes, we have. It depends on the energy source, of course, but as take our company as an example. Our company produces the world's cleanest energy, no emissions. We have hydropower and wind power. Still, we use a lot of other types of energy, not so clean in our operations. For example, fuel for cars and machines. And that makes emissions. So we want to reduce our climate footprint by trying to achieve the most climate-friendly operation of our company as possible. To achieve this, we search for partners with the same challenges and join something is called Klimapartnere. And Klimapartnere, in English, climate partners. That's Norway's most important partnership for green business development. There's over 300 partners companies throughout Norway. The climate partners are working to reduce their own greenhouse gas emissions and working together for green, social, and business development. One of the most important success criteria is interaction and dialogue. Through collaboration with partners from all over the country and from various disciplines, industries, and sectors, we create a network that together is at the forefront of finding and developing good, future-oriented solutions for green business development. But to be a Klimapartner, we have obligations and we must have goals. We must anchor the climate work in top management of the company. All must be involved. We have a systematic environmental management through environmental certification, such as an environmental lighthouse, EMAS, ESO, or similar. And we must carry out annual climate accounts with action plans to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And we must pay an annual dues to the climate partners. And we have a goal. We shall have a fossil-free operation by 2030, hopefully. Energy use and greenhouse gas emission reduction are closely linked. The more we use renewable energy, the less greenhouse gas emissions. My opinion is that renewable energy is not just a part of the solution. It is the solution itself. No one can do everything, but everyone can do something. Everyone has a different experiences and knowledge, and we can benefit from each other. Therefore, cooperation and sharing of experiences is very important, both across national borders and within each country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dag. I would just repeat what you have just said, that renewable energy is not a part of the solution, it is the solution. And I really hope that we can see in the future that what we're doing now, the knowledge that we're gaining, all the young people who are involved in such projects and are preparing for what's next, that we all see this future in the most positive way. Thank you very much. There is one last slide left for our participants, and I really hope that you can stay with us a few more minutes so that we see what are the results, the takeaways. And I would just ask you to stop sharing
Yes.
so that we can
Sure.
share the last Slido. And you all know how it works already. So you jump to the Slido. We're going to uh, post here again the passcode, and you can see it on your screens. So there are a few questions after all the input and also inspiration that we got in the last minutes. Um, and we would really like to hear your opinions. Oh, and we have questions probably. Absolutely. Please post your question in the chat and we'll address it right away. It can be in Bulgarian, in English, no problem. And if you're already in the Slido bubble, the first question to all of you is what challenges do we have with increased use of electricity? There were a few slides dedicated to this problem, and especially from our side as Europeans, I guess. So what do you think would be the challenges? What are the challenges now? Any ideas? Can go on the cloud. Wow, yeah, thank you. This is something from the Kahoot, and we're happy that you're putting it here. 25% of the population use 60% of the energy. And I remember the pie from the slide, right? We have quite a big part from this pie. And we need to fix these challenges is, I guess, the answer that we're seeing in Bulgarian, right? Some last ideas over here. Um, let's see the next question. And it is, what can we do in our homes to save energy? In your opinion, what are the actions that everyone, each of us can take to save energy? And meanwhile, Dak, probably you're seeing a question in the chat. I'll read it out loud in a second.
Mm. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And less time showering. Yeah, we have seen just one example, but when we put the numbers on this example, it looks quite scary. Yeah. Yeah. Change the shower head. Really easy. And use appliances that are energy saving. That's also a great solution. And probably let's see the last question and then jump to the question that we have in the chat. It's a bit more macro oriented towards the big picture. What can we do with the electricity supply? So maybe here any ideas or solutions from what you have heard. We have heard some input on how Norway is managing the supplies, how it is connected to others. Ask for green energy. Great answer. It's also up to us as citizens, as organizations, to push this forward, and also save energy, expand the grid. Great. Let's continue collecting some answers here, if there are more for the next minute. And I will just for the recording read out loud the question that we have in the chat. And so, Dag, from your experience with renewables for so long in Norway and Northern Europe, are there any negative effects for the environment because of large wind parks or large water masses moving from hydropower? That's a very interesting question. So,
yes, we have. Especially the last few years, there have been some protests against large wind power plants because they are maybe too close to the population or noisy, or and that's a very controversial question these days. But there are also plans for building wind turbines in the sea, North Sea, and but that's not come so far yet. But we have several wind power plants on land. That is controversial, yes, and hydropower plants are controversial too. Maybe earlier it was more controversial. For now, to build a hydropower plant, there are much more restrictions for how you can do it. You can't build a huge dam and flow and valley anymore. So yes, it's easier, but it's not. We don't build so many very big plants anymore. We have much, and there are many small hydropower plants in small rivers, small private power plants. So that's in most of these days. But yes, not everyone likes hydropower or wind power, but we need renewable energy, and we know that the consumption with the electrification is rising. And where shall we take it from? What can we offer?
Thank you. Thank you for this honest sharing, because when we also know the challenges and the risk, then we can work on it. And it's a work in progress, right? We have been using the old sources of energy for quite some time, and we are super comfortable and knowing all of the risks. Here is another question. So shortly, what does bioenergy means? You mentioned it in the beginning of your presentation. Could you say a few more words about it?
Bioenergy is wood, you can say. Yes, and making electricity by burning wood and make heat water and use steam to make electricity. So bio, what can I say? The emissions from a tree in the forest and burning the wood is balanced, so it's counted as an renewable source. So we have some plants, but not so many. And those bioenergy plants are making electricity or hot water they distribute around the community.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. If you have any questions that you would like to post now in the chat, please do so. We have little time, but I think that Doug is going to be with us tomorrow for some time during the conference. So if you are also joining the event tomorrow, the final conference, you have the opportunity to hear from him once again and probably to ask some questions. So a minute for anyone who is thinking about the question or thinking about posting their thoughts. And meanwhile, I would like to say a big thank you for the input deck for overcoming together with us the technical issues that we had, but probably and I really hope that it was really interactive. The time spent with you, the time spent in the Kahoot and the Slido was thought-provoking, and there was a lot of input and great examples that we can take with us even in our everyday life when we think about renewable sources, renewable energy. And again, we would like to hear from everyone here on what you think about the session, about the topic and the input. And we have the feedback form that you see in the chat already, and you will receive it, of course, by email. And be honest in your answers. This will give us a feedback on how useful this session was for you. And again, for everyone who is just joining us for this event, we have a photo booth. This is a virtual space branded with the event. And when you follow the link that you will see in a second, you will be able to take a photo, to make a GIF or a boomerang, and feel free to share it in the gallery of the event. When you click that you accept sharing it in the online gallery, or feel free to share it in social media as well. Spread the word, let more people in your circle know about the topics that we're talking about here, because I guess that's the only way to reach out to more young people, more supporters of the causes and the sustainable future. And on this note, I thought that I'm finishing, but there is a really provocative question in the chat, and probably 1 minute to take this one. And talking about controversy, what do you think about the radioactive waste related to renewables? Doug, how will you approach this this question?
I'm not sure I understand what radioactive waste related to renewables.
Can we have a clarification, probably,
if
from the
you
person?
speak about nuclear energy, it's not classified as renewable. But otherwise, okay, from
producing batteries, for example.
Yeah. But battery is an what do you call it? Where you store the electrical energy. The batteries are charged with electric energy and holds the electricity. But the producing of the battery, it may contain radioactive waste. I don't know, but that's very important to recycle and take care of it on a proper way. As we do here in our company, we collect all the batteries don't use anymore and send it to recycling. And that's the best we can do for now.
Thank you very much for this answer. I guess there is also a lot of startups that are doing this, that are recycling batteries, are on the rise. So probably we'll see many more new projects tackling this issue and working on new innovative solutions so that we minimize the effects.
Mm.
But thank you everyone for being so